Hi everyone, so I'm back again because I've got some more information for you from WA. I'll just give Facebook a chance to put out the notification, which I actually don't get on my phone anymore, but I will see it. It's just popped up on my Facebook on my computer. So I'll just give it a couple more minutes to see other people joining. Oh, we got a few in, that's good. So for people under the legislation that changed, previously, if you had a nominee, you were exempt from the cashless debit card. So what this means was that parents who were caring for kids or adults with disabilities, the disabled person was exempt from the card because the nominee would normally look after their finances for them. So for our admin in Kalgoorlie, Sylvia is a carer to her disabled son. Under the old system, she has her cashless debit card for her because she's on a carer's payment. But she was not restricted with her son's payments because he wasn't on the card. Right? Hang on a minute. More dings. Hang on a second. Right. So, yeah, that's thrown me now. So, under the old system, she controlled her son's disability support pension, but it wasn't on the card. She was trusted with his money. She sorts out his NDIS funding. She's trusted with that money, but she couldn't be trusted with her own carer payment, so she's on the cashless debit card. So now that they've scrapped the nominee status exemption, her son is now being issued an Indu card, going on to cashless debit card. But the card doesn't actually go to him. She is his nominee, so the card goes to her. So throughout this, her mental health has also declined. She's now medicated with chronic depression and anxiety, which is quite common with people that have been forced onto the cashless debit card. So now she has 4 cards in her purse to manage their finances for the family, because she has her Indu card and his Indu card, his normal bank card and her normal bank card, in order to try and juggle all the family's finances between the 4 accounts. So then this gets worse because her mum's also on the card and she was the nominee for her brother, Sylvia's brother. Now, Sylvia's brother is non-verbal, cannot speak, stutters, he just doesn't speak. And so Sylvia went over to help her mum activate the new card for her brother. And the man on the other end of the phone at Indu was insistent that he must speak to Sylvia's brother. Now, the guy is on a disability. His mum is his carer. He doesn't have the ability to communicate. And the guy's going, oh no, I need to hear from him. He needs to speak. Isn't this ludicrous? So they put him on the phone and he could barely speak, of course. And then, her mum grabbed the phone back and said, there's a reason why my son's on a disability support pension and he can't speak. Oh, sorry. Oh, I guess we'll just continue with you. Yeah, well, that's why she's his nominee, to speak for him. Unbelievable. So now Sylvia's got the drama of four cards and 4 different bloody accounts to juggle the funds to control the family's finances. And her mum's in the same boat. It's just ridiculous. That's not going to help people with budgeting when you've got to bounce between different accounts. It's just going to confuse the issue. But the question I have to ask, where are all the advocates for people with disabilities? Why aren't they standing up and protecting these people that are in this situation against the cashless debit card? All right? And I think my message to Sylvia and your mum, ring Bill Shorten's office. Right? So Kathy says, wouldn't that invalidate the card activation because he's disabled and can't give adequate consent? No, because both Sylvia and her mum are in the same position where they are correspondents and financial nominees for Centrelink. So they do it that way. Right? I'm just, I'm just reading the comments here. So to people that are in this situation, right, please contact Bill Shorten and be a little bit stern with him and say, why isn't anybody standing up for these people with disabilities? Right? Why is nobody championing them to stop them from being forced onto the cashless debit card? Why are their carers now going to be under the pump with all of this garbage? Hang on a second. My phone's not going to stop tonight. Now, somebody wants to phone me and I don't know who it is because it's come up in my messages and I have to wait. Because I can't see what message that is. Hang on. No. So, not right now. Hang on. Hang on a minute, people. My phone's not going to stop tonight. Yeah. Somebody wanted to phone me right now and it's like, no, not right now. Yeah, so hang on. She apologised for interrupting my last live cast and now she's interrupted this one. So I know all I can suggest to people is people with disabilities that are on the cashless debit card, their nominees, need to ring Bill Shorten and start screaming, where's our advocates for people with disabilities? Why isn't anybody standing up for their rights? Why are they being abused in this manner? Right? Because that's the bottom line. It's abuse of people with disabilities who can't fend for themselves. And it's just another way of getting more Indu cards out there. Because it seems to be they're desperate to get so many people on the card, it's ridiculous. You know? So, they do reject most people's attempts to get off the card. We tell people to appeal. And, I mean, I've got one lady at the moment who got rejected twice and she appealed again and she's taken it to an AAT tribunal. And when I can speak about that, let's just say, don't give up. Push it all the way through to AAT tribunals. Push it. Don't give up. If you get rejected, appeal. And appeal and just keep pushing. You have to keep fighting. Yeah, wellbeing exemption is harder to get than the exit exemption. Alright? But it's not on the stats. So, anyway, I just thought I'd let you know what the deal is with nominees since the change. I live in Wide Bay and to me it looks like some more other serious issues are arising for people. Well, the card's not in Wide Bay technically, but we do have a lot of card holders that live in Maryborough and around the place that were put on the card when they were living in Bundaberg or Hervey Bay. So, all the government's focused on is kicking people on social security when they're down and put them on cashless debit cards in the regions. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, it's all about making money out of poor people. So, yeah, Hervey Bay is not Wide Bay electorate. Okay, Hervey Bay is Hinkler electorate, all right? So, I'm in the Wide Bay electorate, which is Maryborough and across this side. But we do have a lot of people on the card in Harvey, in Maryborough and Tanana and around the place. So anyway, I'm going to go. Hopefully there won't be any more stuff tonight. I'll keep you in the loop as to what's going on with the other stuff I was talking about. Yeah. Well, the carers get lumped with 2 Hindu cards, 2 bank accounts to run, and in like Sylvia's case, she's also running the NDIS funding for the supports and everything else. You know, and her mum's in the same boat now. 2 Hindu cards, 2 bank cards, and basically trying to run both lots of lives. So, what a nightmare. Having to sort out your bills and split it all up, and knowing that the person with the disability actually will probably not have much in the way of things to centre pay, that a lot of their money could end up trapped on the card unless they spend it and spend it and spend it, you know what I mean? Julie Collins, have I seen any feedback from ex-JobKeeper who are now on the CDC? Not yet, but my information that I had was, since the pause has been lifted, those that lost their jobs during COVID that haven't been able to get jobs back, in the Hinkler region, they were putting 2,436 people on the card by the end of May. In Kalgoorlie, they were putting another 908. I think they were putting 165 on the card in Seduna, and I think it was about 300 or something. I'm not sure. I can't remember East Kimberley's stats. But with JobKeeper, I did ring up and find out that the stats for Hinkler, which is the Queensland Harvey Bay to Bundaberg, the job losses predicted from JobKeeper ending was a further 2,500 job losses, which would mean that the minute they go in and sign up for job seeker payments, they are then at the mercy of the department of getting a letter, once it's granted, getting a letter saying that they'll be going onto the cashier's debit card, because they're new applications and they'll be dealt with as such. Yep, so that's the case. So in one way, you could see something like Hinkler go from, you know, around the 6,000 people on the card now to 8,500 with the people that lost their jobs and are already on job seeker, and then add in another 2,500 that could be losing their jobs. So you'll end up with 10, 11,000 people on the card in Hinkler region. It's ridiculous. And now that there's a cap, the cap's gone. There's no cap on how many people they can have on the card, whereas before they could only have a maximum of 15,000 people around the whole country. Now there's no caps. So now they are looking at the Northern Territory, and they need to find a way to coerce 23,000 basics card holders to sign up for the CDC. So that would bring the numbers up to around about 40,000 people on the card. You know, but it depends how many more people have lost their jobs. Basically, the minute you sign up for a social security payment in a card region, the trigger payment you're receiving, bingo, you go on the card. So, well, see, the stories I'm getting at the moment aren't new stories. These are people that have got off the card in the past or been exempted from the card in the past that are now being put on the card because of the change in the nominee status, right? So the disabled people then weren't on it, now they're on it. People that, the lady I was talking about earlier, who didn't live in Bundaberg when the card came, lived in Brisbane, got put on the card, she fought it, she won, she got off the card in 2020 after, 18-month fight with an apology saying, oh, you shouldn't have gone on anyway, it was done in error, which it was. Now they've decided, you know, now they've decided to put it back on the card, so now we start the fight again. And luckily, Senator Anthony Chisholm's going to be looking at that as soon as she makes contact. And I've also been given the name for her local ALP senator that's in that region for her to contact. And of course, I'll give her the phone numbers for Rachel Seaward as well, because these people need all the help they can get, because they're being railroaded back onto the card. They've just got off, and it's like, oh, so they've just put their lives back together again. It's like, here, have it back. But, everybody I know that's on the card that's female with kids is on medication, and they suffer anxiety, depression, and then it's bad. So anyway, I'll say good night, and we'll talk a bit later, okay? Have a good night, people. See ya.